Hello and welcome to Nutrition and Alternative Medicine. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show. So I want to just make a little apology, and I want to ask your patience over the next couple of weeks and maybe even months, but probably just weeks. I have recorded a bunch of shows where I am learning a new program. It's called Zoom. It's not new to me, but it's new to record for you. I have always recorded on different software and been able to split tracks, clean up backgrounds, and just do things that were a little bit more advanced. And so I've been using this free version of Zoom, and I'm not able to do that. So just forgive any slight little background noises or a little bit of reverb. I promise it'll get better. As you can hear me, I am recording directly into a better software program. And this next show this week will also be a solo show. If you're listening to Fit to Love or Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, that will be me doing a little bit on anxiety. We're going to talk about anxiety. And if you listen to Women, Men, and Relationships, you're going to hear the second episode with my new co-host, Mr. Doug Sandler, and we're going to be talking about love languages. So I actually messed up last week. I thought last week was the last call to action on the manifestation challenge, but I'm wrong because today is the 31st and tomorrow is August 1st. So you have one more opportunity to get involved with the 30-day manifestation challenge. And of course, some of you are going to email me days and even weeks later. Here's the thing. You can get in tomorrow and I might let you in by the end of the week. But come the weekend and next Monday, you're going to have to wait till the next one. I just want to start the momentum off properly. And for those people who are waiting in the wings, I let you in a week early so that you could watch the videos, you could get your feet wet, and you could feel like the solid foundation under your feet and that you're ready to go when go time happens. And you could also introduce yourselves to each other, get to know each other, communicate about what you're wanting to manifest, seeing the different people who are on the same path as you are, and of course, asking questions and support. So if you'd like to join the August Manifestation Challenge, there will only be one more this year. It probably will not be until November is my guess right now. I'm thinking November. Haven't decided yet. But you can come to jjflazanes.com, go to the free tools and resources, and the link will be there, jjflazanes.com. Today's show, The 7 Harmful Health Influences in Your Bedroom, is an interview with a longtime colleague, PK Odle. PK Odle is a widely recognized classical feng shui consultant, speaker, author, publisher, and the executive director of the world-renowned American Feng Shui Institute, where she has taught since 1998. Her consulting firm, the Feng Shui Advantage, was founded in 1997 and specializes in working with solopreneurs from chiropractors to info-preneurs, restaurateurs to retailers, artists to attorneys, interior designers to graphic designers, engineers to architects, from startup to well-established businesses. I will say that PK will be at the next big step. She is one of our sponsors, and she was going to be giving you personalized advice based on the things that we talked about on today's show. But I will encourage you to keep a notepad handy because we give her email address. It's pk@pkfengshui.com, and she's offered at least 3 different free things that she's going to give you in the show. So please take advantage of it. Get the information from PK, have a consultation with her, come meet her at the next big step, or get a virtual ticket and you'll still meet her because we're going to videotape her and you'll get to see what she does, what she has to offer, and how feng shui can benefit your life in more ways than just health, which we will be discussing today. Welcome to the show, PK.
Hi, JJ. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. And I'm really excited about today's conversation because I love feng shui. And I think feng shui is so powerful and underrated in terms of people's awareness of it and under talked about. And people just are not really clued into the power of feng shui. And I know you've been doing it for so long and you're such a master in it. So I really appreciate you being on the show today to help us with the 7 harmful health influences in your bedroom. Now, I know we're going to talk about these 7 health influences, but of course, feng shui in general can help with every aspect of your life, right? So can you give us, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time in terms of feng shui, give us a little background on feng shui?
Excellent. There are many misconceptions about feng shui. First, that it's a belief system of some kind or it's Chinese interior design. you don't have to focus on your intentions or your belief systems or anything when you're optimizing the feng shui energies that already exist in your home and workplace. And it's not Chinese interior design. You don't have to love the Chinese look to be able to implement one of the 5 elements in an area to balance the energies in there and to stop harmful energies from causing things like delays and procrastination or pain and illness or separation and divorce and even miscarriages. So when I'm doing the full consultation for someone, I'm analyzing the unseen energies in the house. And we're using the 5 elements to balance those energies so they are more supportive to you and we neutralize any harmful energies. And I simply tell someone where they might need to put metal, and they decide how they're going to put that in to blend with their decor, whether it be a metal table, metal piece of art, or some people even use exercise weights, as long as they can see that they're actually made out of metal and not covered in vinyl or felt. Because that's one thing, all the remedies must come in contact with the air currents. Feng Shui literally means wind, water. Those are the 2 things that move the life force energy that Chinese call qi throughout your environment. Hopefully you don't have water flowing through your environment, so the wind is moving those energies.
And the 5 elements are metal, air, fire, water, and earth, yes?
Not air.
Not air.
We do use circulating air sometimes to enhance and activate a wonderful energy combination that all my students wish they had in their homes or workplaces. But the elemental remedies are water, which would be a fountain, but not full of rocks. Because if you took your water bottle and filled it full of rocks, how much water could you fit in there? Plus, rocks block the water's energy. And then the next one would be wood. Live plants are best. Artificial with lots of green leaves are good because it's the green color of the plants. It's the green leaves that give off the oxygen. So when we just have to use a color because someone has a brown thumb, we'll use a lot of the color green to represent the wood in the area. Now, your wooding furniture, as long as it's wood grain and you can see the grain through the stain, it's neutral. And I tell my clients that a wood grain door is the most neutral door you can have because it is not influencing the energies just inside of your door that are the most important energies of the house. The next one is fire. The fire colors we use as a safe way to have fire in an area, because I'm not going to tell anyone to burn candles all the time. That's just dangerous. So reds and purples, when you look in the center of the flame, purple is the center, the color of the central. And so reds and purples, but do not use those unless you know that the energy combinations warrant them, because those are the ones that can trigger the worst energies that cause major pain and illness, delays, and many of the most negative things that people are calling me to take out of their lives. The next one is earth, would be earthen things like marble bookends. Your marble counter in your kitchen would also be earth. A marble top table, or even some people just will use some cinder blocks if you're young and a college age. So I work with people how to bring it in. Now, sometimes we combine fire and earth, and that's where the salt lamps work wonders if we put a red bulb in there, or we use the salt lamp with some other fire colors near it, and then you have fire and earth in the area when needed. And the last one is metal, and it's actually the most used remedy. So if an area of your home needs metal all the time, I will tell you that it needs metal all the time, so you could implement something like a piece of furniture. If it's a remedy that might need to be moved from year to year because there are annual influences which makes homes better or worse from year to year, so then I would tell you, bring in something pretty. Like you and I know Lisa Thomas, and by her front door she has a metal container full of loose pennies because she needs metal there all the time. So those pennies inside the metal container, it's metal within metal, and that's putting enough metal by her door to remedy it. So there are many ways that we can implement the remedies without people even noticing them. No one should crinkle their nose and go, "Why do you have that funny thing over there?" That's not truly feng shui remedies. And there are no feng shui remedies that are labeled that in a store. I have seen feng shui candle sets where they have a purple candle labeled water. That's crazy. Those are just marketing.
Okay. Well, you had said at the beginning of the show that feng shui was not a belief system and it wasn't Chinese or Asian interior design.
Mhm.
So for those people who are still maybe a little bit skeptical about how this all works, besides wind and water, can you talk a little bit about how you uncover sort of the energies of the space and how to, I know in terms of it's telling someone who doesn't know, obviously there's a lot of intricacies and study that go into this, but just generally speaking.
Well, thank you for asking. There are ancient time-tested calculations that we do on every building. We need to know the magnetic compass orientation of the building, even so far back as when it was built, because that's when the energies are captured or created within the four walls when the roof goes on. I've done a 100-year-old home in Pisa, Italy, where I had to research what was the compass orientation in that area 100 years ago, so I could be sure to know what part of the compass. We're dealing with 15-degree sections of the compass, so I need to know which one that building is oriented in. And we use the sitting direction. That's the direction opposite the formal living room or opposite the view. The sitting is what we use for houses and buildings that we live and work from. I'm doing a condo in Boston that needs help selling it, and the sitting direction of that condo is the hallway on the 37th floor, and the facing direction is the massive windows that have the beautiful view of Boston Commons. So that's a way that someone can tell that their house is sitting. If you're in the Venice area of California, but you're not down by the water, then more than likely your house is sitting to the backyard and facing the street in front, because that's where your formal entertaining area is of the house, or the formal living room would be. So that we have to know the sitting direction of the unit or house, and then we need to know when it was built, because those two items, without that, I can't tell them what the exact energy combinations are. And then we look at the year you're in it. What is the annual influencing happening? So one year your door may have an energy that needs fire colors by it and will bring you more money, but the next year those fire colors could cause terrible things in your life, and we need to tell you to remove those fire colors for the 1 year and put a different remedy there to avoid the problems.
Well, so intricate and detailed, which is why if you're listening, obviously you hire somebody like PK to help you, because that's way too much to figure out on your own. And PK, if I was doing feng shui in my home and had you working with me, would you have to know when the home was built?
Yes. That will tell me when the energy was captured. And also I need to know if there was ever like a disaster in there, like a fire, because fire burns off the chi, the air currents are moving the chi, and fire burns off the air. So when you rebuild after a fire, that changes the year built. So it creates a new energy combinations in the house. Also, I need to know if the house ever doubled in size more than doubled in size because of an addition, because then the new space overtakes the old space. So it's the energy of the new construction that would be predominant for the building. So there are just a few ways. The other one is opening up the roof so the sun comes down and hits your concrete foundation, or the ground below your wooden foundation if you are that type of a house. I've only had one client that had that happen in their space. It's a company that's run out of a warehouse. They shoot scenes inside of airplanes and things, so they work out of a big warehouse. When they moved into it, I told them what set of remedies to do, but about a month after they moved in, the landlord came to fix the roof and found there was a major problem, and they were without any sort of roofing for a whole 7 days, which totally changed the energy in there. And he called me up, he goes, "What's going on? Things are off." And then we discovered that had changed everything in there. So I gave him a new set of remedies to use.
Okay. So what about the person that's renting who doesn't know when the structure or the house was built?
In most areas, the tax assessor's office can inform us when the building was built. If it is a home, Zillow is pretty accurate, but I prefer to use the tax assessor's website. And sometimes we work in 20-year periods. So from, say, 44 to 64. So that time period would be the same energy combinations if the houses were all built in the same time. That's why whole neighborhoods go through influences at the same time. Like in the 50s, there were many neighborhoods that were just lined up row after row of street, and the houses would go through certain cyclical influences together. But the easiest way to find out is to look on the taxes, ask your landlord, or we can look on Zillow, and we can do some, in the LA area, I'm very good at finding out when a house was built. I also have resources down in Orange County for finding out that. But most title companies, if you have a friend that's in real estate, you can ask them to pull the information from the title company on the address, and that will tell you the year it was built.
Okay, just looking for a remedy for those people who
Yes.
are interested, who don't know the answers to these questions.
Yes, because whether you own or rent, the energies are affecting you. I had one lady that I had met, like you, in networking dinner, and I had known her for about 3 years, and she finally hired me to come feng shui her duplex. And she said, when I got there, she said, yes, I moved in here temporarily 38 years ago. And when I calculated the energies, I could tell why it was stretched out to 38 years. The energies just weren't supporting her being prosperous and or healthy while she was living there. So we fixed the energy so she could move on to a place that better supported her.
Beautiful. Can you work with people who aren't local?
Yes, I do remote readings worldwide. I've done factories in Sri Lanka. I mentioned the 100-year-old home in Pisa, Italy. And I also have done offices on Madison Avenue. It's actually safer for me to do the compass readings on Google Compass, thanks to the GPS locators and the satellite images. I can read the rooftop of any building in the world and do the calculations to find out the magnetic orientation of the building so that we can move forward and help them, as long as they can send me an accurate floor plan. That's the one thing I can give them information on how to make one, either drawing it by hand or using a computer software.
Just making sure, because these my audience is all over the world, and I just want to make sure before we get into the 7 harmful health influences in your bedroom, that if people decide, I really like to work with PK, that they don't feel like they can't because you're not local to them. So just wanted to make sure that was out there. So moving on to our topic of the 7 harmful health influences in your bedroom, and the fact that the energies, obviously we deal with energy on every level on every one of my shows, and definitely in spirit, purpose, and energy, people understand frequency and vibration, and we look at different energies in our bodies. So let's start going over the effects of what's in the bedroom and what's number one.
Well, the energies are number one, but obviously I haven't analyzed the homes. So the next thing that anyone can do is, if they don't have a floor plan, they can just measure the width of their house and divide it by 3, and measure the depth and divide it by 3. That's the inside measurements, and find out where the energy grid lines are. It says every building or unit within a building is divided into 9 sections. Picture a tic-tac-toe grid. So you want to find out where those energy grid lines are. I've had people use Post-it notes on the floor to mark where they are, and I've had them use painter's tape to mark where they are, just to see it. If they don't have the floor plan, they can easily measure that, because those energy grid lines will cause health problems if your body is bisected by them. So, for instance, if your bed is aligned like a friend of ours, Jamie's was, and the energy grid line was cutting through her legs, and she had leg problems until she moved the bed off that energy grid line. I had another lady that was laid up for 7 years with a back injury. She had 5 surgeries, 3 of which almost killed her. And the energy grid line was going right through her body from side to side, where the back injury wouldn't heal. So when her friends moved her bed off that energy grid line, she said it was the first morning she woke up without back pain, and her healing actually began then. 6 months later, I was sitting next to her on a flight and going up to a 3-day conference in Vancouver with her. So these can be people who are like, wait, just moving my bed off this energy grid line? Ongoing health problems are created by that. Picture that grid line running from head to toe in your body. The doctors are confused. What is wrong with this person? We've tried this, we've tried that. Your body is being bisected from head to toe. Your right and left sides are in 2 different energy combinations. So you want to move your bed entirely within 1 section of that 9-section grid. There is only one exception. The center square is safe. You can cross those 4 lines that make the center square. So with these tiny homes, I'm very concerned about people being dissected in more than one place when their bed is going between 3 sections of the outer part of the grid. So in those homes, you would want to have the bed going from like a middle section into, and the foot of the bed into the center section.
That's a good point, because tiny homes don't have too much space in each one of those.
No, but they do have the grid lines just like everything else.
Right. Okay, so what's next?
The next one is a direct hit of chi, and that can come from beams, exposed beams over your head. They need to be blocked from allowing the energy to come up and hit the sides of the beams and then come down straight on you, kind of like a guillotine of chi dropping from the sides of that beam and chopping your body. So you want to get out from under the beams. If the beam is coming between two pillows, that can end the relationship. That will split up a relationship. Oh, those energy grid lines can do the same thing. If they're running between the two pillows, that can make a distance in the relationships. I had one client, as we were pushing her bed to be all in one energy, she said, it's like my husband and I are sleeping in the same bed in different rooms. So the energy grid lines and exposed beams can both do that. There are ways, if you're renting or if you just like the look of the beams, or someone in the house says, I don't want to get rid of the beams, there are ways to remedy those, which are a little bit technical. You can do it with a cloth, like a draping, kind of like a canopy, just covering the beams above your head. And if any of your listeners want more information on that, they can just send me an email to the link that you'll have for that, and just put in beam remedies, and I'll be happy to send them a PDF of how they can handle that. The other thing is tray ceilings, because the new architectural trend is to have the ceiling come out about a foot or a foot and a half from the wall and then shoot up and give you a higher ceiling in the middle. Well, that's like having a half a beam over your body. And most of those are over your vital organs, your heart and lungs. And that is the worst place. Now, that one is easy to remedy with molding at the bottom of where it starts to go back up. So it's at the very bottom part. And again, if they put recessed ceiling, I'll be happy to send them more details and pictures on how they can remedy that. Or they can also do the canopy with a neutral colored cloth that is thick enough to stop the air currents. So they can do like a canopy over that to stop the chi from coming down and striking their heart and lungs. And then odd angles. So if you have an odd angle sticking out in your room, like a 90-degree angle pointing at you, we want to block that. If they're bullnose, they are not causing a problem. But if they are a sharp angle, then you can get what's called angle molding to put on there. When people used to put up wallpaper a lot, and I think that trend is coming back, they would put an angle molding on there to avoid the wallpaper from tearing off of the corner. So that angle molding creates enough of a lip, kind of about the thickness of a door frame, enough of a lip to keep the chi from coming straight at you. So it's deflecting the chi from hitting you, which is the same thing the molding would be doing at the bottom of the overhang of the recessed ceiling or at the bottom of a beam.
All right, I want you to go back over what we have so far, because I'm not sure if we have 3 or 4.
We have 2. Yeah, the grid lines, direct hit of chi from beams and angles and things. There's another direct hit of chi, which is a very simple one to remedy. That's being in line with an open doorway. Whether you're sleeping or working there, the easiest way to remedy that, if you don't want to move furniture, is to just close the door or have the door open just a few inches so the door deflects the chi from hitting you. You can just keep the door slightly open to allow the energy in. I have a sister whose dog would not allow her to close the door, so she used a doorstop to keep the door closed just enough to deflect the chi, but allowed her little dog to come in. So think of it about that size. But when the energy, the air currents come in and hit the door, then it gets deflected from hitting you. Otherwise, just move your bed from in line with the door and you won't have that direct hit of chi that causes you not to have a restful night's sleep.
Yes. Can I guess one?
Yes.
I've heard ceiling fans. Is that one?
Ceiling fans are one, but they are about stirring up the energy in the room. So if you are in an area and don't have central air and you need to cool off the room, best to do that maybe about 30 minutes before you go to bed, and then just have the ceiling fan on the lowest setting possible before you get into bed. So, but it's a question of when we turn on the air conditioning, when we turn on the light, that's all doing feng shui in the house because we are making it more supportive to it, to ourselves. So if it's a question of not being able to sleep because of the heat or having the ceiling fan on, just make sure it's on a low setting so it's safe. One of our students told the story about having dinner one night and hearing a large crash coming from their master bedroom. They went in there. The ceiling fan was on high speed, still spinning, but just hanging inches off of their bed because it had come out of the ceiling. The other thing is stillness. So we're talking about air currents moving with the ceiling fan. When someone sleeps with their head out in the middle of the room, because I've had many clients say, well, I sleep on a trundle bed or a day bed and that's open at the ends, or babies in cribs that's open at the ends. That's not giving a restful stillness at your crown, the top of your head. So you want restful and stillness there. So if you have an open area above your head, you want to fill that in. You can use a room dividing screen that stops the air currents. It could be a very tall, solid headboard, or move it up against a wall. Even a wall with a window is fine as long as you sleep with the window closed and there's no drafts. If there are drafts, you want to get curtains that have insulation on them so you're not affected by the drafts. But it's perfectly fine to put your head against a modern window. In ancient China, when Feng Shui started 5,000 years ago, windows were open holes in the wall, and maybe they had some boards to cover them up. So the air currents always came through those openings. But today, our modern windows are very energy efficient.
Okay, what's next?
Stillness at your head. Some people want to angle their bed at the corner. That might be a good sleeping direction for your date of birth, but you also need something solid there, either the solid headboard or the room dividing screen above your head, so that you're able to have a full restful night's sleep. And clutter in the bedroom is not good. Clutter anywhere is not good. So there are two directions right now where clutter causes financial setbacks, health problems, and relationship problems. So no one should have clutter in these directions, whether they are in their bedrooms, in their living rooms, home offices, or outside in an attached or detached garage, or even outside in the yard. Those two directions are the 45 degrees of northeast and northwest, going by magnetic directions, not the top of your map. The top of your map is called true north. So you want to get a compass reading, and you can do that with a compass app on your phone. If you have an iPhone, you go in the settings and turn off true north so that the automatic compass in your iPhone, and you save that setting, of course, the compass on your iPhone will automatically give you magnetic readings instead of the true north readings, which are only good for driving. And if you have another kind of phone, whatever app you're in, you look in the settings and choose magnetic north or choose to turn off true north. So you'll get the magnetic readings. So those two directions, again, northeast and northwest. Now, each person has a direction from their date of birth where they also want to have no clutter for their entire lifetime. So that would be according to your date of birth, and it's the same thing. It's a 45-degree direction on the compass. Now, I can't run through all the possible dates of birth, but I can offer to send that information to anyone that wants to know that by just giving me an email with the word JJ in the subject and their date of birth. I just need their first name, their gender, because it's different for males and females, and their date of birth. Yes, the day, the month, and the year, but I don't tell anybody. And I will email you back what is your direction you need to have clutter-free. Along with that, they will learn what is their 4 supportive sleeping directions to have their crown pointing that direction when they're sleeping, and actually what colors of the wardrobe will help them be more powerful. So for some men, a red tie is actually a power color, but for some people, gray would be better because of their date of birth. So I can tell them what are their power colors. It would be the color of the element of their trigram, and also the element that is supportive or productive to that other element. For instance, I'm a wood trigram. The trigrams are from the I Ching, which is the basis of Feng Shui and acupuncture. And the trigrams are the 3 lines, and when you put 2 of those together, you get the hexagrams. So each person is born into one of the trigrams. Mine is one of the wood trigrams. So when I wear colors of green that go well with my skin tone, that's like wearing my own element. But if you know me, JJ, I'm in blue and black a lot because those are watercolors that feed my energy.
But I did love you at New Media Summit in the green.
Yes.
That was a very calming color for you. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like it was very centering, and
Mm-hmm.
the earthy part of it was just really in a good look with your skin tone and your hair color. So I actually really liked that color green that you had on that day.
Thank you. Oh, and if you have overactive children, I can tell you what color will subdue them and help them be calmer. So it's the color that reduces their element.
Now, I have 2 email addresses for you, and my goal on this podcast is always to make whatever we tell them something easy to remember, because I don't do show notes for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned a link, and already you've offered, I think, 2 things that people can get from you via
Mm-hmm.
email. So let's give them your email. Let's give them the easiest one to remember,
Okay.
because not everybody writing things down when they're listening. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, my name is PK, so it's PK at PK Feng Shui. That's PK, F as in Frank, ENG, S as in sugar, HUI.com. PK at PKFengShui.com.
Perfect. Great. That was one that I was going to suggest you use anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
PK at pkfengshui.com for many of the things that she's offered so far. So let's go
Mm-hmm.
back to our list of 7. I want to make sure we cover them all. I think we're on 4 or 5 right now.
Clutter was 5. 6 is broken things. You don't want broken things also in your trigram direction, because that will affect you personally. So you'll find that out if you email me your date of birth, and just put JJ in the subject so I know that you met me on this call. And there's also directions where broken things from your date of birth will affect you in ways that might cause bleeding or a relationship to split apart. So those directions are according to your date of birth, and they're the more advanced directions. There are a whole set of 15-degree directions. We call those your Feng Shui personal directions. And I describe all of those even with a video at Feng Shui Directions, plural.com. And one of those is your injury direction. So if you have broken things in your injury direction, it will cause bleeding. If you have broken things in your marriage directions, it will cause relationship problems. So if you don't know where those directions are, then it's just best to get rid of broken things. Just get them out of the house, or repair the crack in the wall, or take the broken pieces of mirror or glass out of there, because broken glass and cracks in walls are very bad for your health and your relationships. And also thorny plants. So bougainvilleas have the worst thorns I've ever witnessed. And also roses and cactuses. So succulents without the thorns are better than the ones with the thorns. If you have those around your house, email me and I can give you some tips on how you might be able to mitigate the circumstances, or we can talk about which ones are bad for you. This year, the South, no one should have cracks or thorns there, or anything broken. And the Southeast, because those are the annual injury and marriage directions, which I go over with each one of my clients when I do a comprehensive reading for them and when I do their annual updates for them.
So I don't know if broken things was 6. Is thorny plants 7, or is that under broken things?
That's under broken things because they have the same effect.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Now, interesting with the roses. I love roses.
Yeah.
So roses but in different areas of the house, roses are okay?
If you get cut roses in your house, just break off the thorns and you're fine. You can enjoy the roses.
I do that anyway. Okay, cool. All right. What is number 7?
Number 7 is mirrors. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Are you a Feng Shui cure-all? Actually not. Some people say mirrors will reflect bad energy. I can guarantee good hair day or bad hair day, the mirror just reflects your image. But they reflect energy. There are 2 kinds of energy. There's yin energy, which is stillness and darkness, and there's yang energy, which is the light and the active energy. So mirrors reflect light, correct? So when they are reflecting light, they are making the energies more active in the area. That's great in your office, but not in your bedroom. So if you have large mirrors in your bedroom, it takes longer for the energy to calm down after you shut off all the lights at night for you to be able to get to sleep. So it's better not to have large mirrors in your bedroom. Plus, if your neighbors are nosy, they might see something in the mirror you don't want them to see. Or you might see yourself in a half awake state and startle yourself. If you have a weak heart, that could be really dangerous. But the worst thing is if the mirror's in your lonely pillow direction. That's one of those 15-degree directions that barely 5% of Feng Shui people in the world can tell you. That's the direction that interferes with your love life. And we could handle a whole nother call about your love life and Feng Shui. But the mirrors, just not to have them large ones in your bedroom because they will interfere with your sleep or they could interfere with your love life. I've had clients where the mirror on their closet door was what was keeping them single.
I believe it. I believe it. I don't have any mirrors in the bedroom. And I kind of want to keep it that way just for many, many reasons. So awesome. Okay. That was a really comprehensive list full of stuff that I'm sure everyone is going to need to listen to this podcast again in order to take notes on or to take a look at. Now, again, back to the idea that I want things to be easy for people to remember so they don't have to write things down. What would be the best website address to send them to, PK?
The same as the email, pkfengshui.com. It will direct you to my main website. My company name is actually the Feng Shui Advantage because that's what I want to give people. But I have shortened the URL so people could get to it faster. pkfengshui.com.
pkfengshui.com?
Yes.
Okay, great. So make sure to check out PK. She does readings everywhere. Obviously, as you can hear, she's a wealth of knowledge in many areas. And this is just one and just the tip of the iceberg here with the harmful health influences in your bedroom. So if you're not able to get the healing that you need or to get somewhere within your health, whatever that might be, maybe this is the next place for you to take a look at because it absolutely will affect your outcome. So besides what we eat and what we think and how we feel, the energies in our space also can contribute and do contribute to the wellness and well-being of your life. So PK, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, JJ.